Hey guys! I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Boom Shaka and I welcome you to my channel. I hope that you guys have been enjoying the content I've been putting out there. I really appreciate all the support that you guys have been sending my way. In this video, I wanted to speak to you guys about how INFJs are actually extremely forgetful. And that's one of the reasons, we realize that very quickly, as we move through our life. And so we start writing everything down. That's one of the reasons why I specifically write everything down as much as possible. Whatever I can think of, I will write it down. For example, something as mundane as how often I drink my kombucha. Now that's something very hippie-ish to say, but I try to drink kombucha at least 2 or 3 times a week to maintain my digestive health and my immune system. And so I drink it, but I forget when I drank it last, right? And because there's so much going on in my head and there's so much going on in my life, and in general, I'm so busy with thoughts and processes that I forget. And so I've started writing it down. The last time I drank it, I'll go to my calendar. The last time I drank it was yesterday. Okay, cool. I don't need to drink it for a couple of days. And then I'll go to my calendar a few days after and be like, when was the last time I had kombucha? And I'll check it. I'll be like, oh no, it's been 5 days. Okay, I need to drink some, I think. Now, someone who's a P is going to probably look at this video and think we're absolutely insane. But we have this extreme desire or need or this wish not to forget anything. It's so trivial, right? Forgetting to drink kombucha. But instantaneously, as soon as I realize that I've forgotten to drink kombucha, in my head, it is like the worst case scenario. It's like, oh my God, I haven't drank kombucha, I'm gonna die soon kind of thing. That's what my mind jumps to instantaneously. And so in order to prevent that madness, in order to prevent that spiral of crazy thinking, it is crazy, I realize it, but it's really hard for me to stop it. And so in order to prevent that, I have to make sure that I follow that schedule and I make sure that I drink it on a regular basis. Now that's just one of the things that I write down. There's many other things that I'm writing down on a daily basis of things that I've done, things that I've started, things that I've done during the day. For example, my morning routine. I write down all the different things that I do on a daily basis. So, I'll meditate, I'll do my Wim Hof breathing, and I'll do a little bit of yoga, and then I'll have this green smoothie, and then I'll go for a walk. And so there's a lot of things that inculcate my day. There's a lot of things involved in my day. And I know that if I don't write down what I've done and what I haven't, I'll forget it. I also write down the things that I want to do, the things that I want to include in my daily schedule. For example, I'm really interested in face yoga recently. I've been watching a lot of videos. I've been really fascinated by it. And so I've been wanting to start a face yoga regimen. And so I'm looking into it, I'm researching it, I'm writing it down, all the different things I want to do. And eventually I'm going to add it into my schedule. And that's going to be one more thing that I have to keep track of. Now, that's not just, morning routine stuff. It's also food and my meals. I forget to eat, and I've done many videos on this, that INFJs forget to take care of their physical needs. And so in order to make sure that we do eat, I write it down. So I make sure that I have it written down and I need to eat lunch at this time. I'll kind of put it in my schedule or I write it down. And I also write it down so I remember what meals I've had already, because I get distracted and I'll forget. Did I have breakfast? Did I eat already? And so I'll write it down saying that, okay, I had this for breakfast, right? It really helps me in my head because I know then that I haven't skipped my meal. And if I have skipped it by chance and I've forgotten about it, then I can have a bigger lunch and kind of try to compensate a little bit. This also kind of goes for names and friendships and details about friends and other things like that. I am extremely forgetful in this regard. I don't forget names necessarily. I mean, I can. If I've met you a couple of times, I'll probably remember it. The first time, maybe I won't as much. But I do try to remember names because I think that that's one of the qualities of a person that people really like it. If you remember their name, you're like their best friend. And also I know how important a name can be to someone's identity. So if you forget it, it's basically like you're putting them down. But I know that sometimes I have a hard time with it, so I'll write it down. I've written down the personality types of my friends. So I've written down like this friend is an ENTP and that friend's an ISFJ and this friend is this. And so I remember that whenever they've done a test or I've kind of figured out that this is their personality type, I'll write it down so I have it, and when I need to remember it, I can go back to it. I've written down all the personality types of my family. Now eventually I'll remember it so that I don't have to go back to my notes, but it's nice to write all this stuff down so that it's not accumulating in my head and causing my head to feel heavy and overloaded, right? I'd rather put all of this information down on a piece of paper and then have that piece of paper to refer to rather than store it here and just have all this information just sitting there. Like useless information, really a lot of it is very useless to other people, useful to me, but if you think about it, like who really cares? When was the last time you had kombucha? You can just have it right now. But for me specifically, it's really important to follow that schedule. I hate forgetting. As I said, I go into a spiral of mad, crazy thinking when I forget something. It's like I berate myself for hours on end for forgetting something. I cannot stand it. The perfectionist nature that I have, and all INFJs have, we hate it when we forget something. It is an affront to us. It's like it's one of those things where we'll put ourselves down and we'll hate ourselves and we'll say negative things to ourselves for days on end if we forget something. And so in order to prevent that, it's extremely important that we write stuff down because our memory is not that good either, right? We'll remember random details, right? We'll remember things that no one else will remember. I remember statistics on miscarriages for some reason really well because I learned it when I was like 10 or 12 or something, and I read it in a novel or read it in a book, and I remember that stat so well still. It's a random thing. Why do I remember it? I don't want to have babies, but I remember it. It's just the way it is. We remember random weird things, but we don't remember. I don't remember like the job roles of some of my friends. One of my really good friends, I'm always saying that her job is this, whereas in fact it's something else. And I'm always trying to remember, what is it again? I really try. I always fail. So now I've written it down. I'm like, okay, I need to write it down because if I need to talk about it, I don't want to make a mistake again. I don't want my friends to think that I don't care about them. It's not that I don't care about them. It's just that I am extremely forgetful. But as I said, we remember weird details, especially if we like you. Now, I remember what my friends like to eat. For some reason, that's something that I really care about, food. I love food. Even though I skip meals all the time, I love eating and I love food. But so I'll always remember what my friends' favorite meals are and what they like to eat. And so we can go to restaurants that they like to go to or they like to frequent, right? I'll remember random things like, who their exes were and what their names are. It's just random little details that normal people wouldn't remember. But what normal people remember, I will forget. And so, as I said, as an INFJ, it's a good idea for you guys to write down things as much as possible. Even if it seems like this detail is extremely useless and you're never going to need it again, I just write it down and then I forget about it. If I need it, it's there. So in the way I kind of manage it is I use a Mac, so I have a notes application in it, and whenever I have something new that pops up, I'll just kind of type it into the notes thing, and you can search in notes. So I'll put in something that, like kombucha schedule or something like that, something that's really easy to search for, and that way I'll always have it on hand. I always also write down everything that I purchase and when I purchased it. So for some reason I like knowing how long things last. And so if I purchased an electric kettle, for example, the one that you can see in the background, if I purchased an electric kettle, I want to know how long I've had it for and how many times, how long it lasts for, how long can I use it for. So a lot of things that I own, they will have like an attached tag with it, how long have I owned it, how long have I used it for. I'll always write everything down that I buy in terms of costing. I love writing down all my expenses so I know exactly what I've purchased, because then I forget, what did I buy? How much did I spend on food? How much did I spend on groceries? I like knowing all that stuff and I like writing it down. So as you can tell, there's a lot of stuff that I will record about myself in order to make sure that I don't have to remember it here. I can just write it on a piece of paper and then forget about it until I actually need it again. Right? But things like my passport number, I know I never need to write it down because I always remember what it is. But my expiration date of my passport, I can't remember it for the life of me. So it's just an odd thing. I don't know how our brains work. I don't know what the storage system is like or the classification system, but some things will just stick to it like honey. I don't know. It'll stick so hard you can't even remove it. And some other things just fall off, and no matter how many times you tell me the same thing over and over again, I'll forget. Like my family is extremely big. My mom has 5 brothers and 4 sisters. And so we have a huge family. And I always forget what the brothers' names are, what the sisters' names, my aunts and uncles' names are, and their kids' names, and their kids' names, and their grandkids, and my nieces, nephews. I forget all of their names. And so last time I went, I actually wrote it all down, and I created a family tree. And so whenever I forget, who's born to whom and who has how many babies, I'll just go to that family tree and I'll remember it, right? I know it's a little bit insane, but that's how our brains work. It's just odd. I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you guys think? Do you forget things as well, or do you have a really good memory? Because is this not an INFJ thing? Is it just a me thing? I hope not. I've noticed a couple of you guys say the same thing, that you forget things very easily. So I'd love to hear from you. If you guys have any questions at all, please message me anytime. All of my contact information is in the description below. And I shall see you guys the next time around. Bye for now.